How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to the next episode of the Tactical Empire. I am joined by Shawn Rider. What's up, man? How are you?
Not much. I'm good. We are recording on Christmas Eve, so it is a good day. After this podcast, I need to get home because there is a notary coming to my house, and we are finally refinancing the first two Burr properties with my real estate partner in Texas. So
hell yeah. Congrats.
He crushed it on his end of the bargain, right? Finding the properties, doing the rehab. We already have tenants signed. We haven't even cashed out refied, and the tenants have signed their first month lease on both properties, I believe. The reason why it took longer than expected is like the underwriting, they took us through the ringer, man. Like they wanted every piece of paper I've ever looked at in my entire life. So I don't know if that's something you've seen across the board with underwriting right now. But we were not expecting that. So it's about time that they send someone to my house to finalize this.
Yeah, underwriting stuff right now. I've been in and out 3 times, I think, with my refi that I'm doing right now. So it's a tough situation. That's an awesome thing that you mentioned, though, because your partner there, who is a member of the Inner Circle, he shared the other day that last year at this time, he had declared his big ass goal, if you will, was that he sent a text message screenshot of guys in the group, and he told them that he was going to buy 20 houses this year, and I think he's closing on 21 at this point. For the year. So he actually set a big ass goal. Didn't think he was going to do it. He just thought it was a pie in the sky fucking number that he was throwing out there, and then actually he completed that this year. And so that's awesome. Yesterday he was on the call and we were rolling out his expansion into San Antonio at Metro to start buying next year. And so I hooked him up last night with a contractor down there that I'm familiar with so that he can start building his team and have some assets kind of on the ground down there. So I'm excited for him. He's going to try to buy 50 this year. So I shared on the call yesterday that it's tremendous to think about when you talk about going what you can do in such a short amount of time, the difference that you can make by just focusing and I guess committing to a goal or direction. That particular individual, we could very easily be sitting here next year this time, and he could have acquired 80 rental properties over a 2-year span. And so, do you think that changes his life? Do you think that's going to change his family's life 5 years from now? And the answer is abso-fucking-lutely. And so, I mean, what's the difference between him and the guy sitting there that didn't do anything this year? And it was just simply getting clarity and focusing on a direction and executing on it, right? And it's not to say he hasn't had any hiccups or setbacks, because they happen. But I mean, he's in the process of building a full-on real estate portfolio company. And so with that comes a lot of intricacies and some headaches and some lessons learned. But it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch these guys kick ass and change the entire trajectory of their family, if you will.
That's for sure. And one thing you said there, for people that don't know who we're talking about, this individual, he's actually gone out and done the work, but he didn't have the money. Now he's got money, but for these deals, at least, he went and got someone else's money. So this is something we've talked about on other podcasts. We don't need to do that. So when you hear Jeff or I say, oh, just go do the thing, it's well, I don't have the money to do the thing. Well, if you have the experience and time, which this gentleman did, he went out last year, that text message Jeff is referring to, he proactively reached out to other men in the group that said, hey, I think we have some of the same goals in mind. Here's my skill set. Here's what I'm willing to put in. Can you bring XYZ to the table and let's do this together? Now, he partnered with 2 other guys. Later on in the year, I met him at the meetup, liked the presentation he gave on the burst. A month later, we were business partners. 2 months later, we bought 2 properties. And here we are 5 months later, cash out refi today at 2:00 when I signed the paperwork. So it's pretty cool to see that. Now, today's episode, it's cool that we can use the guys in the group as the example, and maybe we'll do more episodes in the new year on the progress other men make. But one thing that I want to talk about today, Jeff, was lessons learned, right? You said, yeah, this guy made this progress and it didn't come without its hiccups, right? There's lessons to be learned when you succeed. There's also more and plenty good lessons to learn when you fail or get through a problem or get through an obstacle. So for you, Jeff, you said you've gone through underwriting 3 times for 1 refinance. You don't need to talk about that if you don't want to. But like, what did you learn in 2024 based on the things that you were working on? And what are some lessons that you're taking with you from this year? And don't get them order. Anything and everything's on the wherever you want to say.
I think that really it's just absolutely focusing on just staying narrow. I mean, it's been a huge year for me if you actually think about it. Like, I feel like I haven't done much, but like, I sold everything, moved into an RV with my family, went to like 22 states. We travel full time now, but like, I also left a mastermind that I grew from scratch to multiple millions of dollars of annual revenue. And like that, so that has been, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about that because of the people involved and how that transition was. I'm super content and super happy, and I want to be more and more narrowly focused is what it is. That the lessons learned that I had from the year are just simply like, I need to continue to do more of what I'm doing and not get distracted by a bunch of other shit. And so another thing, you and I just had a business meeting about the Tactical Empire before this, but like, I'm wanting to make more impact and deliver more value. We switched to a one-to-many model this year in the Tactical Empire, and it's great. And we're getting a lot of results, but it's not allowing me to get my hands dirty as I want to, as detail oriented with people's lives and getting into people's shit. So I can do strategy sessions with them and kind of do that high level vision casting that I'm talented at. So I'm getting back to that. You and I are kind of masterminding a plan to roll that out in next year. So I don't have all the specifics on it yet, but I'm going to be getting back into coaching more and strategizing for people more so that we could provide like a better level of impact on them. So that's one thing that I kind of learned. We got away from that, and it seemed like I had the ability, I had more to offer when it came to like, how can I solve these problems? It's tough to solve the problems in a one-to-many model. I mean, you could do it, but like, you don't have the same problem. So we're not going to spend 20 minutes talking about your problem specifically on a group call where there's 30 guys on the call and everybody's kind of dealing with different stuff. So those are just a few quick ones that are top of mind.
Yeah. What were some lessons though? Like you're staying there, you're staying narrow, but like, how do you see that unfolding throughout the year? It's going to allow you to move faster. It's going to allow you to have a bigger impact, obviously. But your goal with that is to what?
Well, my goal was that I think I spread myself too thin from time to time, and I get involved in too many things. And so my lessons learned were like, I haven't yet scratched the surface on the potential of like what I'm operating on. Like, I want to take my real estate investing to like solidly in the 8 figures. And like, so I need to do that. And I need to, we talked on the last episode, I think, about rolling profits, taking the net and rolling it up. I need to be more focused on doing that. Cause I have some financial targets that I want to be hitting with regards to what our real estate portfolio is producing. And, then on the business side of things, I also feel like I have a tendency to get bored and get involved in too many things. So like I'll move on before a project's actually finished. And so like I'm really focused on taking the tactical empire to the next level this year and really doing the work that's necessary as opposed to like picking and choosing kind of what I like to do more so. Like certain things need to get done foundationally to take the business up and provide also a better level of service for everybody involved. And so like um kind of just taking my own medicine, if you will, and like stop avoiding the work I don't want to do. And because like this thing has not been the businesses that I already am involved in have not been taken to the levels that they can be. And so there's no reason to get distracted and start something new because like I'm sitting here with my number one ROI right in front of me that I already own and already possess. And so like I need to take my own advice and not fucking turn left and get distracted. I need to go chips in on what I've already got.
Well, I think that plays into the same thing that happened with me this year, and I'd probably describe it a little bit differently, but we're talking from the same book here. Is like if someone zoomed out in my life and only saw like broad stroke details, a year ago I owned a gym. A year ago I mentored people through a mentor company. I owned real estate. Fast forward to going into 2025, I own a gym. I mentor people through a mentor company, coaching company. I own real estate. What you don't see is that there was a 9 months worth of fucking huge transitions that happened. Once the gym was a gym that I didn't believe in the model and methodology anymore. And so a lesson there was like, you're not always going to love everything about what you do, but you have to love what you do. And I didn't love it anymore. I didn't love the methodology. I didn't love the branding. I didn't love the situation that I found myself in after 4 years of going through the mud after the lockdowns. And I finally pulled the trigger and made a fucking change. Like I talk about on other episodes, like resigning from a job is a hard decision, but it's a very easy. And I had to take a dose of my own medicine, as you say, and I literally just closed the business, right? Definitely made some people upset, but I'm not here to make people happy. I'm here to do what I can do to make my life and my family's life and the people that I want to be around, make their life better. That does involve clients, but I'm only going to live X amount of years. So 4 years was long enough to me not being happy with that business, and I closed it. Okay. The mentorship company, absolutely loved the people that I worked very closely with in that company, you being one of them. I absolutely loved my clients that I worked with. But just kind of like you just said, I was tired of building someone else's business. I I think I did a really great job. My clients got fantastic results. So getting a free t-shirt out of that, you know, it was time for me to do my own thing. And fortunately, you saw a value in me and brought me in Tech Empire. So I'm doing that in a I wouldn't say more narrow field, but you and I can control the messaging on the pathway that we believe is in the best interest of the men that come into the inner circle. So I'm super excited about that. As for the real estate, not much has changed, right? I sold one short-term rental and converted that equity into these first two Burr properties. So the difference there is I don't have the cash flow from the short-term rentals, right? Definitely ran into hiccups with my properties this year. The Hurricane Helene knocked over a huge retaining wall in the North Carolina property, which should have been, that was the brand new build properties. That property shouldn't have gave me any headaches for years, but a once in a 1,000-year hurricane came through the mountains. So I definitely took my licks from a financial perspective. One of the big lessons that I had to learn, Jeff, was from 2020 to 2023, I was, quote, buying income. So I was investing in real estate that could give me cash flow immediately. I wasn't building any new businesses at that time. But this year, I decided to get rid of some of that cash flow, all while selling one of the short-term rentals, closing a gym that was kind of floating by, but I wasn't happy with it. And converted that to investments, Burr properties that don't really pay out a ton, especially right away when you got to rehab them. And two, opened up another gym. So my investor style changed this year from buying income on day one to sending money literally away from my family. This is how I view it. I'm sending money away from my family Even the hard money loan that I've done this year, nothing has come back to me yet. Literally. Like,
Yep.
So just imagine a number, like whatever number would make you like sweat a little bit. Imagine sending that amount of money away and not seeing a dime from it for 9 months. That's what this year
Yeah.
has been for me, investor. And I don't know if I fully understood that I was doing that when I did it. So I didn't understand how to react to it when like 3 months in, I'm like, where's all my fucking money? Right? Oh yeah, I sent it away and I have to wait for it to come back. So that's what I'm doing. Whether it's the passive income with real estate, I have to wait on it. And then, whether it's the active income, which is building this business, which we're finally open. So we do have revenues coming in, but we've sent a lot away. So any thoughts when I say that? Because I don't know if I've ever said it to you that way, but like my investor mindset, I really had to like swallow a tough pill and just be comfortable with the type of investing that I'm doing now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's been fun to watch. I distinctly remember a conversation probably 10 months ago where you were noticeably anxious, more so than your description right now. Like you just spoke in a much calmer manner about the exact same topic that 10 months ago you were like wired up like you'd had 3 coffees. Like I don't know what's going to happen when I don't get paid next month. And so for me, that's a level of like sophistication and growth from you, understanding that like depending on the different deals, the different investments that you're looking into, in order to build wealth, at some point, you do have to send your money off and give it time to kind of incubate and make those babies that you're looking for it to make. And so like just having a little bit of letting go and understanding and trust in yourself to evaluate a good deal, make a good decision, and have at least with a decent amount of confidence that the money's going to come back and have grown. That's an important thing. It's similar to the lessons that you and I talk about when you're like, this is my 20-year-old self as a business owner versus a business owner today. It's the same type of thing. We see it in different businesses where when you're younger in your entrepreneurial life cycle, you think you know the fucking way to do shit. And the reality of it is that there's roadmaps all around you. And all you have to do is just go follow the goddamn roadmap. And as young, dumb entrepreneurs, we think we're smarter than the people that have been doing it for 20 years. And and so it's the same thing with investments. You're like, well, I want my money back every single month. And once you understand that, like sometimes you've got to take longer term risks in order to get the greater return. I think the birthing that you're doing for long-term rentals is the best thing that you've chosen to do this year for sure, because like what you're going to understand in a few years is that like that's going to build you true like long-term wealth. Whereas like what you're talking about over the last 3 years is more of a cash flow play. And so
that brings on, we talked about this on the other call, so we don't have to go there. It's like, it's interesting. Do I want to take a bigger hit and sell another short-term rental to convert that equity? So that's a challenge where I talked about in the last episode. I do want to reiterate something that you said is like this year in terms of a lesson, but it's like a reinforcement is like, even though like the money hasn't flowed back yet, what was reinforced was that those decisions were the right decision. Man, the weight coming off my shoulder, closing a gym that I no longer love, their business I no longer love. It's like, hey, we're walking on scot-free. Like you guys are going to figure out what you need to do. There's plenty of other places for you guys to go. Cool. And then with the Tattoo Empire, like it's just a reinforcement that over the past 9 months, this is the exact men that I want to be around. Yeah, we don't go to these meetups and talk about the same shit, ask the same questions. Like, yeah, there's foundational principles that we teach. And if someone's new coming in, we're going to teach those foundational principles. But like all of these men are moving forward together and our meetups are fucking awesome. I love that we only do 2 a year and I've loved where we've chosen. I love what we've chosen to do. So, this year reinforced that like going into 2025, and I've talked about this on a podcast I presented on it, like you say you're going to be narrow. For me, same shit, different word. Like I'm simplifying everything. Like in 2025, if you are not me, if you are not my family, if you are not in the Tattoo Empire, if you are not at my metabolic gym, like I don't have enough bandwidth for it, like for you. And I'm sorry about that. You and I both separately were on Ethan Schindler's
Yeah.
podcast. Get the work. What's his podcast? I want to give him a shout out. Do the work. Do the work.
Do the work. Yeah. 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 Doing the work, maybe.
Yeah. And I made a statement in there. It's like, I've gotten good at saying no, but I have to amplify that more in 2025. And the wrong person hearing me say that, like, oh, I'm going to say no to people, they take such offense to that. But on the podcast, him and I both talk about, like, it is necessary for you to succeed. It is necessary for you to say no. So if you aren't me, which I'm the only person that's me. So what I mean by that is I need to take care of myself. I'm working out, I'm eating well, I'm sleeping. If you're not my wife or my kids, if you're not Jeff or a client of the inner circle, or if you're not a team member at Metabolic or a client at Metabolic, like I'm going to have very little, if any time for it. I just know I won't. And I need to promise myself that I won't get distracted this year is basically what you said, to steal your words.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's an important lesson though that people need to understand is like busy people understand busy people is a saying. I think that's just such an important thing to understand is like it's never personal. It's just like we are busy doing our stuff, right? Like so if you're listening to this, keep that in mind as you come up too. Like if you're going to ask for people's time or their input, you should be very appreciative when they give it to you because I had a specific incident happen in the last week where somebody asked me for uh, information that I took my time answering and providing, and that particular individual just never responded. And like, so they went out of their way to take my time to ask me a question. I provided a thoughtful answer with also actual lessons that we've actually taught. And then you can see that they see it, but they didn't even respond. And I'm like, that is a way to like move on off of my list of who's going to get my responses next time.
Well, the good thing about you being on the road is now at least that was, it took your time, but it was virtually probably, I'm assuming,
Oh yeah.
as opposed to when you were hunkered down in a town, that would have been like a 2 hour coffee meeting where they paid for your $3 coffee for your time and your fucking $1 million value.
Yeah.
That's my joke to everyone that says, oh, let's go get coffee sometime and I'm going to pick your brain. My brain is worth more than $3. Sorry.
Yep. Yep. But to be fair, I try to delicately put that information out there to people because they don't, if you don't know, you don't know. Right. And like people don't understand that level. Can I pick your brain is something that a lot of young people say all the time, and they don't understand the dollar value behind time. And like, so the cool thing that you mentioned about the tactical empire that's awesome to watch is like the evolution and the growth of everybody in there that you're speaking of. Like we're expanding constantly, and year over year, everybody's getting better. Everybody's getting like more educated, more wealth. The conversations are different. They're just so cool. That's amazing.
Yes. And one thing that's actually happened over the past couple of weeks is the men are stepping up and providing their personal skill set to the other men in the group. We've definitely seen this after we did the fitness talk in the group. Some of the leaders in our group who were really into certain aspects of fitness have provided free services essentially to the other men. So one of the men in the group, his wife followed our content for a very long time. And so I have her phone number. They did a course with me a while back. And so she texted me and she said, hey, do you have someone in the group that would be good for, Joe Doe for this? And like, I literally opened up Facebook 10 minutes later and someone in the group posted, hey, me and my wife are really good at doing XYZ. We want to provide this to the rest of you men in the group. So I texted her real back. I screenshot. I was like, tell him to connect with this dude because he's the right dude to do this for. So that's what I'm really excited about. So the lesson, again, we're the lessons of 2024, just reinforces that we're building a good thing here. We got good men in the group. A big lesson, not to switch gears here, I know we're coming up on 30 minutes, is like this year reinforced that when you think shit's hitting the fan, like you said, 10 months ago, I was talking very anxiously about my business and the company I worked for, right? I knew I wasn't breaking, but I could be aware that I was getting to a breaking point, and I don't ever want to be involved in something that gets me to that point. And so one big lesson for me in 2024 was like every time shit felt like it was hitting the fan, I went more internal and intimate with my family. Like, I purposely set more time aside. I purposely put my phone down. I sat on the couch with my wife longer. I played with my kids longer. I took things off my schedule to take my kids to Discovery Museum. I got out in nature more alone or with my family. Yesterday was Christmas Eve, and we spent 2 hours. It was 30 degrees. It was 17 degrees in the morning, Jeff. I know you're freezing just hearing that. But by the time 1 o'clock came around, it was 34 degrees. And we went and walked a trail like 10 minutes from the house. We drove, took all the dogs, and we walked a trail. Like by the end of the trail, my kids were walking in a thin t-shirt, right? Like we're just being outside. So that's one big lesson that I'm taking with me in 2025 is one, if shit feels like it's hit the fan, go internal and be more intimate with my family. But two, I don't need shit to hit the fan to have to do that. So especially with opening up a new brick and mortar business, like of course it took some time away from me over the past month that we were literally opening the doors. But now that we're in our flow, I gotta balance that. I don't like balance, but I gotta get back to like putting the phone. But we're there as a family, which is cool because we didn't do that in the previous one for a while. So I wanted to throw that out there because there might be some guys listening that are going through some shit right now, and they just keep digging into the mud. And it's like, hey, you can come up for air for a minute and just stay close to the people that are close with you because these businesses can come and go, the real estate can come and go, your job can come and go. But if you committed to a spouse and you got kids, like make sure you're doing the right shit there to make sure that stays intact.
Yep. Yep. If you're anxious and stressed out and don't know where to focus, focus on your foundation. Always. That's exactly right, brother. That's exactly right. Wise words. I'll let us end with your wisdom. Join us on the private Facebook group or Tactical Empire community. It's a public Facebook group. Follow us on the Tactical Empire on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've got 400 videos out there for you to consume. Tons of information. So let us know if we can help you. You can hit up Shawn or I on Instagram or send us a message. And we're happy to help you guys in spite of what we said about picking your brain. We're here. Have a Merry Christmas.
Hey, send us messages. They're way easier for us to answer too than making you drive 30 minutes to a coffee shop for those local people.
Hey, by the time you're listening to this, it's going to be New Year. Have a great New Year. Let's kick ass in 2025 and have a great week.